everyone. I have Bob and Brad with me here again today. We have just launched our Focus 2.0 and wanted to share some of the new exciting details with you all. Bob is going to get us started by telling us about some of the new features for Focus 2.0.
Yeah, it was such a successful update. We got a lot of positive feedback, and we add a lot of feature. I'm just briefly going to some of them, and then Brad gonna go in deep to some of them. The first of all, the visual improvement was significant for Focus 2.0. You have a universal access. We have important security update. We have unlimited user access for internal access and external. You have a facility share feature. If you want to share your facility for limited time, you are able to do that. You have a lot of report improvements in new update, and we added paid service management. This is some of the, I can keep going to the list, but I don't want to just go to all of this list, but that was a big update for our Focus.
Let me maybe show some of this. And for most users, a lot of the things that they built in, you may not see, just kind of experience. And so let's go through a couple of the more important ones. One of the first notable differences is something that we actually hope you don't notice, is that whether you are an existing user or whether you are using Focus for the first time, you're going to go through the same login screen. And so if I were signing up to this site for the very first time, even if I had never logged in, all I have to do is enter my company email address. And what we're going to do is actually go and look to see if your company already has other users in Focus. And if it does, we're going to pass you through a process to link you to your current organization. If your organization is not registered in Focus already, you will then be sent down a workflow to actually establish your organization, and you will become the administrator for that until you possibly assign it to someone else. In this case, I already have username and password here associated with my email account, and I am simply going to log in, and it's going to take me directly to my company page. So what this essentially means for users is Focus is free for anyone to use, whether you're a project company who has purchased things from Aderus, whether you have monitoring with us, whether you don't, or if you are a support vendor, maybe an EPC, a third-party engineer, a project owner, and you're trying to get information about your project, whether it's monitored or not, you can now use Focus as quick as just signing up. As Bob mentioned, there are a host of new features, including, for instance, facility sharing. And in this case, we are an O&M provider, and we have a host of facilities that we monitor on behalf of other people. These facilities are now shared with us. And so for O&M providers or asset managers, if you have projects that are being monitored or were purchased by another company when they were first established, there is now an entire section dedicated to sharing. And as Bob mentioned, that sharing can be based on a time period where it expires. Maybe you're trying to sell your portfolio and you want to give access to a third-party performance engineer so they can download information. You can do all of that through facility sharing. The other thing I wanted to show is something we actually haven't talked about in great depth. For a long time, we've had an operations screen which has allowed you to see the status of monitored facilities and drill in and do some reporting. But with Focus 2.0, we have launched a new section called Event Logs. And Event Logs is a continuation dedication to portfolio-wide management of the status of your assets. And this essentially is our solution to alarm and logs management. So let me take you on a brief tour. So first, I'm simply going to filter this down to a single portfolio of projects that we manage. And I'm now only looking at alarms from that company. The other thing that I can do is filter by devices. So for instance, if I'm really interested in just inverters, or maybe I'm interested in reclosers, I can filter alarms based on those devices only. You can sort alarms based on criticality, which comes from the devices where they're generated. So let me take a filter off here to show you another feature. And that is alarm grouping. So Focus is doing this automatically. When we detect that multiple alarms are generated from one particular facility, we group those together. So in this case, I can see that I have multiple meter offline comms alarms, and all these happen basically within a second of each other. So this is most likely a related event that's happening at the site. If I wanted to, I can select any one of these alarms individually, and then I can decide to do something about it. Once I select an alarm, I can decide if I want to acknowledge it, and I can decide the time frame. So maybe I want to acknowledge that for 1 day to make sure that I come back to that. And you can see I've acknowledged that one alarm, or I can acknowledge this as a group. So if I just say, select that entire group and click the acknowledge button, then I can also acknowledge for 1 day. A few other things that event logs allow you to do are track things like major events on site. So it's not uncommon for there to be storms or maybe a tree falling on a fence or some other type of work going on. And if I wanted to simply keep track of that from my monthly reporting, I can do that. So in this case, maybe we have some equipment replacement going on. I can choose the facility where this is going on at, choose Battleboro. I can also specify the date when that happened. So maybe that started earlier today, and just say that it started at 2 o'clock. And if there was an end time associated with this, I can have that as well. So we will just say that there was an inverter replacement. And I could obviously track more details there, like serial number, make, model, firmware details, etc. So with my details recorded here, all I have to do is hit save. I'm not going to do that against this facility because we didn't actually replace an inverter up there. A different type of log that we support also are call logs. And if you've been through generator operator training or GOP training, call logs are a very specific event that is required under NERC standards. So if you have received some type of communication, or if there is an emergency response, or especially if you've received an operating instruction, which requires you to change the behavior of the facility, you can now record that information as well in the appropriate structured way. So again, do our date time, this took place, and I can give a short description. So operator instruction to curtail to 5 megawatts. And in the long description, I might record the information about the utility. So PPL, real-time desk, Jones, and perhaps a callback number as well. Okay, so I have the information here. And then again, I would just click save. Now these logs, events and call logs, actually show up in the chronology here of the event logs. So we can actually keep track and report at a later date the activities that are taking place along with the alarms from the sites. Event logs are a brand new feature that are available to anyone who's currently monitoring in Focus with our Acuity platform. And we developed this specifically to enhance the ability to manage alarms, events, and call logs for your operations center.
Well, Brad, Bob, thanks for showing us around Focus 2.0. We are so excited about this new launch, and we can't wait for you to use all of the new features. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.